Greetings, people. So, my name is Tori Nicole, and this is my story, one of my segments of my story. So, on December 31st, I recorded a video. It was the first video for my YouTube channel. Now, I wanted to start a YouTube channel last year. I started to think about it last year because I feel like in 2020, I had so much time to think. I don't think I've ever had that much time to just process and think and read personal growth books, listen to podcasts. I didn't have that much time to think that much before 2020 because I graduated in 2019 from college. And before that, I was serious about school. Like every year, I was a little stressed out 8th grader, stressed out 9th grader, stressed out 10th, definitely stressed out 11th and 12th grader, trying my best. Like I treated school like work for real. And in college, I had set a precedent. So of course I was stressed in college. And I was always trying to get to the next thing. And I had all these thoughts bombarding my mind. Anyway, so graduated in 2019. And now it's like life. I'm like, okay, I have to still be successful. And I still had things that I was focusing my energy on. So I didn't have time to process. And from March of 2020 to December of 2020, I had a lot of time to process. All the things that were on my plate, some of them I liked. They were like a job. It's taking off. So I had time to think. And with this thinking came a lot of growth for me. So for me, transitioning from 25 to 26, I really felt like a different person at 26. And so I wanted to chronicle this. I wanted to chronicle my thoughts. I wanted to really take a look at what I'm learning. And one of the ways I grow is by speaking it out loud. So I wanted to share my story. And so what that's going to look like is videos about a thought that I had that just kind of expounded my thoughts. So that has a domino effect. So it was like this, and then it was like that, and kept connecting. It was just a web of thoughts that centraled from this one original thought. So I really like using Instagram, and I'll put some questions on Instagram because of the thoughts that I've had. And then those thoughts kind of trail into a video in itself. Also my spiritual journey. So I claim Seventh-day Adventist Christian, and just being able to analyze Seventh-day Adventism and Christianity, I would say I haven't really started to analyze Seventh-day Adventism, but I've started to analyze Christianity, and really delving on what that means for me. So that's what my YouTube channel would be about. And I said this in my the first video I posted, but there was a gap between me posting in January to me posting now. And so this video is kind of addressing the thoughts that kind of stop you from doing what you want to do. So for me, when I speak, and I actually haven't been doing it in the past 5 minutes. I don't think so. I might have. It's just so natural. It might have been happening. So when I speak, there's the speaker speaking, and then there's two other workers doing their jobs. And when I speak, one worker is analyzing what I'm saying and checking for any holes or any arguments or any fallacies in what I'm saying. Did she say anything incorrect? Did she say anything that may be misunderstood? Did she say anything that was not compassionate? That may offend. I don't mind saying things that may offend, in the sense that most people don't say it. like the term that just keeps coming to my mind is, oh, how vulgar. Like how, like when people say things that are not generally said in public, I don't mind being that person. But I'm not someone who likes to be someone who's just insensitive. So the checker would be saying, was that insensitive? Was that not politically incorrect? Not that. But was that false? Like, can that be proven false? So, and that can be challenging because my mind works in both ways. Like if we're talking about something, I can kind of argue both sides of the point. So if I can argue both sides of the point, that means I can see like the case that the plaintiff might have versus the defendant. So it's hard to argue for the plaintiff because I know what the defendant's going to say. And I feel like every other sentence, I'm like, yeah, as a plaintiff, I'm saying, yeah, so this is so-and-so. And then I'm like, but I know what you're going to say as a defendant. And it's like, I'm almost arguing with myself as I'm talking or as I'm thinking. Sometimes that actually comes out or sometimes it stays in my head and I don't actually say it all. So that's happening over here. I'm talking, the plaintiff and the defendant just going back and forth, trying to figure out, are we saying like something that can line up for both? And then on the other side, I'm like, is this something that future Tory is going to disagree with? Like when I state my claim here, I'm saying, this is what I believe. I believe this. This is what it is. Will future Tory, whether that may be in the future 3 months, future 5 months, 5 years, will she be saying something that's completely opposing that? And this Tory makes her look foolish or her credibility is weakened because of what this Tory said. So I'm like, what do I think future Tory is going to say? So, if you can't see the future, you can see how that would complicate things and make things hard for her. Hard for me to be able to speak. Because I got one side of me trying to make sure you don't have any fallacies, any errors in what you say in general. You're not trying to offend anybody, like actually hurt their feelings just because you're insensitive. You're not trying to say anything that's unfounded. Like just you don't have the facts on that. Or you're not saying anything that you're making room for the other side to have a case against you. And then on the other side, it's like trying to make sure you're not like messing yourself up for future arguments that you may have. So all that made it hard to sit down and talk. Like makes it hard to talk. For all of the Hamilton fans, if you watch Alexander Hamilton or Hamilton about Alexander Hamilton, I really could relate sometimes to Aaron Burr and what he said in his song "Wait for It," his defining song. So Alexander Hamilton was like a founding father, just to give it a summary. Founding father, for those who haven't watched the movie or don't really remember that from history class, he was a founding father of America. And he helped bring the Constitution. He helped make the Constitution and help it to be something that we rely on. In my head, I'm fact checking the positives. I'm like, am I saying this correctly? Is that exactly what he's doing? Anyway, so that's. I'm not going to go too deep. Alexander Hamilton. Anyway, in the play Hamilton, he is someone who is a fiery personality. Those people who say what they think. They don't hold back. He was a firecracker, and he believed a lot, and he let his beliefs be known. He didn't let people stop him. He wasn't politically correct. He said what he had to say. Now, on the other hand, Aaron Burr, he was politically correct. He came correct. He made sure he wasn't trying to offend. And one of the things he said, he was like, why do you tell people what you believe in? Like, why do you tell people what So he said, why do you tell people what you believe in? But what I'm thinking is like, don't be so hasty with coming to stark conclusions is what I'm thinking. Because you leave room for people to attack you. That's what he was saying. Like, when you tell people what you believe in, you leave room for them to attack you. And for me, it's like when you make hasty or non-hasty, but stark conclusions, do you leave room for you to be wrong and then someone to come and correct you? And I don't like being corrected, especially when I feel like I could have got the right answer. I understood enough of it for me not to have gotten the wrong answer. Now, like, I'm okay when I get something wrong. When I get something wrong and I didn't know, oh, well, I didn't know. But if I feel like I kind of already understood that and now I'm being corrected because I left room for the opposite side to see a hole in my argument, or I'm being misunderstood. If I'm being misunderstood, generally I feel like I didn't explain well enough. All this makes it awkward for me to want to sit down in front of a camera and talk and put my thoughts out there. Because, like, once you put something on the internet, it's on the internet. So it's like that's making a loud and stark conclusion or a thought. You're writing in pen, and that's what YouTube feels like, writing in pen. So it was like, do I really want to write in pen? Do I really want to do this? Especially because while I wanted to chronicle what I have learned, I also want to continue this process because I feel like every day I'm like processing so much, and it's a learning process. So therefore, sometimes I'm like, one day I believe this, and the other day I'm like, oh, I added this to my catalog of things I know, and I like to take my rough drafts, do what I gotta do, and then put out a pretty little picture for you guys. I don't know that's gonna happen. So this is gonna be a practice in working, like I said in my last video, in uncertainty, like working through not knowing the end all the time, and also working through not having it perfect all the time. So if there are things that you want to do and you're not doing them because of the thoughts that happen in your mind, one, you're not alone. And two, do them. This is me doing them. I'm gonna check my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Talk to y'all about the conflicting thoughts in my mind. Watch Hamilton. Big fan of that show. Big fan. So I said all of it. Oh, I did pretty good. So I also want to shout out like the people who have poured into me to the extent that I'm like willing to do this, like share my world, share my thoughts. First, I want to thank my best friend Melody. She has a testimony, and recently she shared her testimony with me, and in her testimony, I could just see, like, it just became so clear to me, like, how connection with people changes people's worlds. Like, it impacts them. Like, just having that conversation with her changed my, like, world at that time. Like, it makes life worth living. Like, the connections that we make, and when we're vulnerable and we share our lives with somebody and share our feelings and our emotions, our fears, our anxieties, like the things that haunt us and the things that build us up, the blessings, the joys, the special moments, when you share that with somebody, it makes life worth living. And yeah. And in that conversation, she encouraged me to be like 3,000% honest, and just being that vulnerable in that moment, it was just so like thrilling for me. So doing this is thrilling. Like talking to you guys is thrilling. Like sharing my thoughts is thrilling. So I encourage you to try it. For some people, it's not the same, but try it. and you might not want to do it on a scale like this, but you might do it with like 1 or 2 people. But sharing who you are, like, this is a thing that I will say often. This life is meant to be lived with others. Like, share yourself with others and watch how that builds on you. Watch how that helps you. And I feel like we hold back, like, to our detriment a lot. And I say share. So thank you, Melody. Also, I watched Nyla. So if you guys haven't seen NYE'S Storytime, you should check it out. Nyla Oliver makes YouTube videos for Sabbath morning. And on her YouTube videos, she has it's a short, concise video that gives you takes a lesson and it's so simple that a child can understand it, because it's for a children's story basically, but it's still helpful for all who watch. So one of the things she was talking about was fears in her last video, and she said, list your fears and cross them off. And so when she said that, it just was in my mind, and when I was like thinking and processing, like making this video, it's like, well, not this particular video, but when I was processing making my second YouTube video, it was like, what are the fears that are stopping me from doing this? And by listing them out, helped me come up with this video. So thank you, Nyla. Thank you for being consistent in what you're doing. Thank you for doing your work. Like, I feel like as you live your life and you shine your light, you inspire others. Jasmine Jackson. So these are all my best friends, by the way. So Jasmine Jackson, she is vulnerable on her Instagram. She talks about the struggles she's going through or the improvement she's had. And I feel like how vulnerable you are on that level, it inspires me to want to be more vulnerable on like a public level. I can be vulnerable with my friends, but the public level, I've seen her do that and with ease. And yes, and just the amount like of love that she pours into me and supports and like shows that she supports who I am, it inspires. So thank you, Jasmine. And the last person I want to thank is my friend Charles. He's heard my story. He knows my story, and he has encouraged me to share, like just share, like share what I have to know, what I do. Kind of getting on track a little bit, but he's also an artist, and watching like him practice his artistry, like he draws, and I see him he does it often. When he does it and he learns from what he did yesterday or what he did before, or he'll be looking at old sketches of 3 years ago, and he's like, he can see how much improvement he's made. And just seeing like someone being consistent about their art like that is like inspiring. It helps me because there's not a lot that I've done where I hobby wise, where I just let myself grow from here to there. It's if you didn't start here perfect, it's awkward and it's not fun and I don't want to do it. But like to see someone just like work at it day by day, and all the encouragement he gave to me about doing what he knows I can do. I appreciate it. So thank you, Charles. So these are my shout outs. This is me saying like, I'm going to begin making YouTube videos, as I said, about my journey, but also to be more specific, like the next video I'm going to make is about my understanding of the Bible. And that's going to be one of my favorite parts of my channel. It's because I feel like I like breaking down stories, and I like the perspective I have, and being able to share that perspective of the Bible, which is a book that's widely talked about, and to share my thoughts and how it impacts me. So thank you for all of those who've joined. If you have some things that you're struggling with, I encourage you to share it with one person. If you have something that you want to do that I feel like kind of pushes you out your comfort zone, I encourage you to share with that one person that you share your struggle with, whatever it is, what you want to do. Ask them to check up on it. Like, accountability partner can be a tax, I guess. But accountability partners are great. So if you just ask them to check up on you, like, say, did you do it? I know you said you wanted to do this. But yeah, I would say comment below something that you want to do that may push you out your comfort zone. Comment below if you have seen Hamilton. In fact, like this video if you've seen Hamilton and you liked it. And share this video to anyone you think may enjoy or may have needed it for the moment. And subscribe. Hit that little red button. Bye.